Hello everyone. It's probably a bit weird seeing me in a different space, and this is probably I think only the second time that I have someone else. So I'll let my friend introduce himself.
Hi guys, I'm Danny Cho. I'm a YouTuber in Korea and I'm a Korean. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's it feels weird for me to make a video with another person, but hopefully you enjoy. Yeah, so since both of us have experience being a foreigner, I really want to talk about our experiences of being a foreigner and dealing with loneliness. Yeah, so if any of you guys have any similar experiences, please let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences. Okay, so so to get started, I assume most of you know that I've been living in Korea for several years now, and yeah, that's basically what my experience is. A lot of my channel is just me living in Korea as a foreigner. How about you? What experience have you had being a foreigner?
I moved to States when I was how old was I? 13 years old. In and I lived there for like 3 years. Yeah, that was my first time as a foreigner, and I had that kind of thing too, like the loneliness as a foreigner living in other country. So I moved there and I went there by myself. I was not with my family because I moved there, and there's a thing called homestay, which is letting like there are people taking care of me instead of my parents. So my parents pay them to take care of me. So they are being my parents in the States, so in other country. So so it's kind of like I had some kind of guardians living with me, but still it was not extra my parents. So they were saying they are protecting me actually, but I didn't feel like that way. It was more like they are just taking care of me only because of money.
Did you find it easy or difficult to make friends?
When I was there, first time when I just moved to the States, I wasn't even able to count through 1 to 100, or I didn't even know.
100.
I didn't even know what Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday thing is. So basically, I was not even able to speak English, like not at all. So it was really hard for me to make friends at the time since I was not even able to say things I wanted to say. But as I lived there, my English got better, thankfully. So I could actually learn how to communicate with them through English, and even when I wasn't able to speak English, thankfully those friends in my middle school, they were really nice and they tried to take care of me because they knew I'm living there, like I'm not living with my parents. So it's like I'm pretty sure when I tried to talk to them, there were so many times that the sentences doesn't make sense at all, but they kind of felt what I wanted to say. So it wasn't hard to make friends because the people were so nice.
I do feel like it also could be a difference in culture as well, since America is quite multicultural.
True.
One of the things I experienced in Korea, like since Korea is quite homogenous, like majority of the country is just Korean. Like these days there's a lot of foreigners, but it's not like in America or Australia or something where like there are so many people of like other countries. When someone says they're American, they could be white American, black American, Asian American. There's like so many different kinds of like American, but in Korea almost everyone is Korean.
Yeah, Korean.
Yeah, so it's very I felt very different. So for me, there was always this feeling of like I'm different, I'm a foreigner, and when I tried to make friends, it's kind of like I can I can become friends with people, but then there's always like some kind of like barrier. And no matter how close I get to someone, it's hard to get past that barrier because I'm not Korean. And it's kind of hard to explain, but
I kind of get it.
yeah, and I think there is this thing with like Korean culture has like a lot of nuances, I guess. Yeah, like some of the things that Korean people tend to have with each other, like a sense of like family with each other. You have a family with your family with your close friends, and then you have family with all of Korea as one nation. There's always like levels of this family, and you can like become a part of it, but there's always like a limit of how much you can become a part of someone's like family thing. And I don't see it as I don't think it's a negative thing, but it is something that you have to be aware of, especially when you're not Korean. So it was a bit, oh, chicken's here. I knew it was gonna happen while
was fast.
I was being emotional.
Let's finish recording.
Okay, so chicken just arrived while I was being very emotional, letting my heart out. Whatever, let's continue. What was I saying? So there does feel like there's kind of like a limit of how close I can get with Korean people. And then there's also the other aspect of like Korean people tend to be very busy. It's not just Korean people, but like for like the work I do, I finish very early. I finish at like 4:30 p.m. every day. Most Korean people get off at like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like I have friends who get off after I go to bed. And I don't go to bed that early. And then yeah, and then even some foreigners are in positions like that too. But it's a little different because I think like for us it's kind of like we chose to be here, we chose to be in this position, but a lot of Koreans, they feel like they're stuck here and they don't have a choice. This is just the position that they're put in. And as much as like I can understand in my head, I'm not in the same position and I can't really feel what they feel. And it kind of does put this like distance between us. And that's something that I don't blame them for it, but it's I feel sorry for them actually. But it does make it a bit harder. And and then naturally, I guess, like, because I finished very early, it's very hard because like most people are just working when I'm finished. So naturally, it's just like I'm the only one that's finished, and then I don't really have anyone to hang out with. So it's just how it is, I guess. And I've learned to just get used to that. So I kind of touched on it a little bit, but did you ever feel like a culture made any difference in making friends?
Actually, I didn't feel that when I was in the States, but I felt that when I came back to Korea. Because when I was living in the States, I should be like the Americans. They want people to say what they want to say. That's what they expect from people. But in Korea, I don't think it's like that. It's more like we should know that it is okay to say it before we actually say what we want to say. So, but when I just came back to Korea, I just said everything I wanted to say because I thought it's okay. But I think it was not because people were thinking it's not cool to say everything I wanted to say. Some people were saying like I should like keep that in my heart because it can hurt other people's feeling. I know that hurting other people's feeling is not good thing to do, but when my feeling got hurt, like I get hurt, when I get hurt, I think I can't say what I want to say because even though they get hurt, since I'm getting hurt too, so is it right?
Yeah, but you want to get revenge.
Yeah, it's not revenge. It's not revenge, but like I just don't want to suffer by myself. I just want to express it. Yeah, like that's what I felt like is kind of culture thing. I'm not sure it's cultural thing, but that's what I felt after I came back to Korea.
I do feel like that, actually. I kind of agree. Like, they have this, like, the nunchi culture. You have
yeah,
to
true.
you have to read the room, read the atmosphere, and understand when things are okay. And it's always this thing of like one example is like when you work in a company in Korea, you can't leave even if it's your finish time. You can't leave until your boss leaves. So you have to wait for him to leave, even if he's there for 2 hours after. You have to wait for him. And what if, like, sometimes it's like your family's birthday, but you have to be late because you can't say anything to your boss about it, even if you want to say something. And it's the kind of thing where he's like, he has to work late, so you also have to work late. And it's stuff that you have to put up with in Korea. It's kind of like,
But as you guys might know, it's not all companies. There are some good companies which doesn't have any of those kind of nunchi cultures, and we Koreans kind of starting to know that is a problem. So young generation, they don't have those kind of nunchi culture, so they usually say what they want to say. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
I do like the point about having culture shock when you're there, but also reverse culture shock when you come back. I'm definitely gonna experience that when I go back. When I visited Australia last year, I had so many like weird things that I was doing, but in terms of cultural differences, some of the stuff that I've mentioned already, have been a bit of a challenge, but yeah, like stuff like nunchi culture, and there's things that you shouldn't say to people, things you shouldn't do to people, and then there's things that like people do that are like kind of weird for me. Like, one of the things that I still don't agree with, but it's kind of common in Korea, a lot of guys, they have to ask their girlfriend for permission to meet their friends or something like that. And I think that's very unhealthy in a relationship, but it's kind of common in Korea. So a lot of my friends who have a girlfriend, they always tell me, like, I ask them if like they can meet on this day, and they're like, oh, I have to ask my girlfriend first. And I just want to be like, why do you need to ask her? Is she your mom? Like, why do you need permission? But that kind of stuff is like very difficult, and it kind of that kind of stuff also kind of adds like a wall between people as well. And and then there's also stuff like when there's like a special holiday like Chuseok or something. I mean, like, my family kind of celebrates Chuseok as well, but most foreign families, they don't. And that kind of this is this kind of thing where Koreans together, they have this thing together, but then we're kind of excluded from it. Sometimes they, like, when you work here, it's like if you work or study here, like your school or your workplace is gonna try to include you in the workplace celebration. But then when you have days off, you can spend time with like other foreigners, but most of the time you're just gonna like have your own time. And it's those kind of situations where you feel kind of lonely when there was like major cultural things and people don't you can't really be a part of it because it's not your culture really, and most of the time you don't really celebrate that. One of the biggest things is Christmas. Like, how do you celebrate Christmas in Korea?
In Korea, for me, I just do nothing. Yeah.
What if you had a girlfriend?
I have a girlfriend.
Oh,
but, yeah.
You still do nothing?
Yeah, I don't do nothing. Usually, like, because on Christmas, if you go on a date, like, there are too many people outside.
Right.
So we try to go on a date on like weekends instead, because there will be too many people on the Christmas.
Right.
Yeah, that's mine.
Oh, you guys are very practical. As a Westerner, like, Christmas is all about family, and it's very I think that's the time when most foreigners get really lonely. They miss their family. I do that too. Like, I think what most foreigners will do is we video call with our family in the morning, and then do whatever we do, or try to spend time with other foreigners. But even if I'm spending time with people, it just doesn't feel the same, I guess, because I grew up for like 20 something years having a routine with my family every Christmas, and suddenly just like spending it by myself every year just felt, well, I'm not really by myself these days, but just not being around my family
Yeah.
or like my church back in Australia, it kind of I don't know, just I can feel it missing in my life, and just having these aspects, like they do add a bit of challenge.
Yeah, I felt those kind of things too when I lived in the States. Like, even though I was with my friends, but I was not with my family. And it's like huge difference. Like, I just wanted to call them, but there is time difference. So, and the saddest part is when I'm sick and my parents are not there. I just cry all day. That's what I did when I was in the States. Like, that's the saddest day I can still remember. Yeah.
Gosh, I want to cry too. Every time I get sick, I have there was one day I remember I had the flu and I could barely walk, and I lived like 15-minute walk from the hospital, and I walked to the hospital because that was my first year in Korea. My Korean wasn't very good. I was too socially anxious to call a taxi on the phone. I was like, I don't know what to say. I'm too sick. So I just walked to the hospital by myself, and I was in pain. I was dizzy. I felt like I was gonna throw up, and I just walked all the way to the hospital. I did all my stuff by myself somehow, and then I walked back. And then usually, like, if I was at home, I would have my mom will make me like congee or some like soup or something, but I had to make or buy it, and I couldn't make it because I couldn't even walk properly. Like, I was so dizzy. So I can't remember what I did. I had to buy something, but I can't remember. But those days when you're sick those are the most lonely times, when you're living abroad by yourself.
Don't cry.
I want to cry.
Stop crying. No.
So we've been speaking a lot about like the difficulties and challenges we've been going through. What things helped you to overcome these challenges or difficulties?
Like, overcome the loneliness thing?
Yeah, loneliness and
What did I do?
or just being able to make friends.
I just tried to be more friendly with friends. Tried to more rely on the friends because my family is not there. Only people I could actually rely on to were friends. So I tried to be more, how do I say, is it okay to say deeper friend? Like, more closer to them. So that's what I did, and it kind of, I'm not sure it'll help though, because since I was kind of too lonely, since my family is not there and I just relied on them too much. It kind of had bad effects too, because I got closer too fast, maybe. Yeah, that's what I did, but it had bad effects too. So if you guys try to follow my instruction, be careful. Just take yourselves yeah. Thank you. That's all I could say.
Yeah, I think it's very important to always be mindful of what you're doing and to be very careful. Like, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. So like, know your limits, know where you're standing. But I do think there is some good in that. In that I think it's a really good idea to rely on your friends. I think a lot of people these days, we have a very difficult time accepting help from other people. A lot of the time we want to be able to do everything by ourselves. We always feel like we can do this. If we rely on other people, it's kind of like we're showing that we're weak. But a lot of the time it takes more strength to accept people's help and to ask people for help. So when you are abroad, especially by yourself, your friends are your family in that time, and you have to let them be there for you as much as you would be there for them. And one of the things that I've learned is that especially when I first moved here, I wouldn't let people help me. Every time someone would offer to help me, I would just I would kind of reject it and try to push them away. And then when I push them away, the more you push them away, the more they are not likely to come back and help you. And then it just extended how long I had my problem. But then eventually, I realized, I think like someone made me realize actually, like if someone needed my help, I would go out of my way. I would use all my energy and all my effort to help them. But then if they want to do the same thing for me, I will feel like, oh no, don't do that for me, I'm a burden, like that kind of stuff. And I realized like why would I let like myself help everyone and put all my energy into it, but I feel bad if they help me? Like is that not okay? So I realized like one of the important things is like, you know, asking people for help, being open, talking to people, you know, especially when you're alone. Don't keep yourself alone, I guess. Like even if you're not that close with someone, just try your best to talk with them, I guess. Yeah, because I guess that's kind of what you did. Like you tried to be deeper.
Yeah,
friends with
but
people.
like I tried to be the closer friend, but I didn't open up my mind. That was the problem. I didn't tell them that I'm like feeling lonely because my parents are not here. I didn't say about those things. But even though I wanted to be closer with them, but I didn't open up my mind because I wanted to look stronger. But if I open up my mind, that's gonna be better relationship, I guess, or like better friendship. Yeah, I think that's what I would recommend you to do, and that's what I would do if I go back.
Yeah, I do think you need to have a level of openness with people. I think it's very easy to feel like you want to hide away part of yourself to protect yourself. I think that's very common. I think I still do that, but at the same time, I feel like I want to be more open about a lot of things about myself. I think it's very important to tell people about yourself, especially like if you miss your parents. You know, it's like there's nothing wrong with that, and I think people can understand that, and people are ready to be there for you when you do that. Yeah, like if someone told you, if a foreigner, I guess I'm a foreigner. If a foreigner in Korea, they told you that they miss their parents, like how would you react to that?
Like, wow, wait. Let me think.
So let's say this person is like a good friend of yours,
Okay.
and then how would you feel? Because you have your parents here, but they don't.
Actually, first I will feel sad because I've felt that too, and I know it's really tough thing to do. Like living in abroad by yourself is really tough thing to do, and I don't know what I would offer, but I would try to be more nice to the person. If like the person asks to hang out or like grab some beer, then I would just, let's go. I will try to be more like I will try to be helpful, but I don't know how I will be actually helpful there. Like like if I offer a help, that can be rude too because there might be some way of like 무시하는, how do I say it? Like
overdoing it.
Yeah, maybe I'm overdoing it. So I will try to be careful, but I will try to be supportive. That's what I'll do.
I think being supportive is very, very helpful. I think for me, being in those shoes, but also I've been on the other side, like when I was in Australia and I had foreign friends. And I think what I would probably do is just try to be there for them. If like, try to, be open and say like, if you want someone to spend time with, like I'm here, just let me know. And I'll have dinner with you. You can come to my house, I'll come to yours. We can just hang out, like whatever. Just I'll be there and support you, that kind of thing. But other things that I found that really helped, especially like times when I felt like I didn't really have friends that I can talk to or go to or anything. Sometimes you need to find new friends. So one of the things is you gotta really put yourself out there, because I feel like for me, I find it so easy that when I get really lonely or really depressed or something, I just kind of hide inside myself. I just go home every day after work. I don't really talk to people much, and then I just keep like living inside of my depression and loneliness. And it's hard to get out of that mindset, but it's one of the worst things you can do for yourself. One of the things that really helped me is to just really get out there. Like, there's lots of like events. I mean, right now it's not really a good time because of the virus, but in a normal world situation, generally you can go out and join like like a hiking group, an art group. Just join some kind of group, take classes in something. Do language exchange, join like a language exchange app. There's so many things you can do to meet people. I don't want to get into dating, like that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But that is something. One of the biggest things I feel, if you're a foreigner, it also depends on where you live, but learning the language makes a massive difference. So you already shared your experience with that before. When you started to learn English, you were able to make friends a lot better.
True. Yeah.
I felt a similar thing when I first came here. I could speak Korean okay, but I wasn't very confident or very comfortable at all. Like, when someone speaks to me, I'll kind of like freeze, and I was very like scared to speak back. These days, like, I'm a lot more comfortable to speak now, but I do still have a bit of like anxiety with speaking in Korean, but I can still do it. And I've managed to make friends who don't really speak English much. Even some of my coworkers, they don't speak English, but I can talk with them and have coffee together and have a conversation, and it opens up so many doors for you. You can make friends that you never thought you could make. I have friends who speak maybe like upper beginner level Korean. Like, they can introduce themselves, they can very, very basically talk about things, but they made friends with, like, they went to the countryside on a vacation, and then they met like a old grandma on the street, and they drank like makgeolli together and had a conversation for like hours. Like, you can open up so many doors by learning the language. You don't even have to be fluent, just learn basics. Like, when you speak to someone in their language, they can feel like your heart and your intention, and seeing you make effort for them, it's really what's the word, like, it's a really beautiful thing. Yeah, I can't find the right word. Do you have any more tips for people who might be going through this kind of thing?
Just try to talk to someone and try to rely on someone and open up your mind. Open up your mind is the one thing you really should do, in my opinion. Yeah, and I hope everything go well.
Yeah, I think for me, I'll try to keep this just to one thing. Try to put yourself out there and meet people. If you're very shy and socially anxious like me, you can, especially like with the internet these days, you can find groups for clubs and stuff. Meet them online first, and then go meet them in person. Especially in Korea, I don't know what kind of apps there are. Like, every country uses different apps, but in Korea, people just use KakaoTalk, and KakaoTalk has like open chat rooms for like sports groups and for hiking groups and stuff, and you can just join them, meet people, talk with them there first, and then go meet them at the event, and then get to know each other better. And then you can also like meet people online, just have online friends. Like, that can often help people, but I would highly recommend to have real life friends as well. Even if you want to have online friends, don't have only online friends, in my opinion. But anyway, we've been going on for quite a while, so hopefully it was interesting for you guys to hear our experiences. If you guys are going through any of this kind of stuff, I hope this can help a bit, or you can just resonate with it and feel like you're not alone. If you have gone through any of this kind of stuff, I'd love to hear your experiences, ways you dealt with it, and what you suggest for other people. But yeah, that's pretty much what we came to talk about today. I'll link his channel in the description as well. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you more for inviting.
And thank you all for listening until this point, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye.
See ya.